That looks like the spot for it. And take off our ladder smart, or safe. Ladder's securely footed, but better to be safe than sorry, so I'll put my harness on. All right. I'll just create an anchor point. We're safely hooked up. Bracket. All right, maintaining 3 points of contact the whole time. This is what we want. Alrighty, now the cable I've pre-run before should be just in the cavity here. Beautiful. I'm going to rebait the fascia board so the bracket sits under the tile line. Put down our foam so it doesn't damage the cabling. The rebate's no lower than the guttering, so there's no chance of water ingress. All right. It should slide straight in between the rafters, just below the tiles. We've got clearance 25mm under the gooseneck before the bottom of the gutter, so it won't block the guttering at all. Just get it nice and level. All right, screw this in. All right, we've got our safety goggles, earmuffs. Just keep in mind, you can't be too cautious. You've only got one pair of eyes and one pair of ears, and you want them for a long time. It's a good idea to have this stuff on, especially when you're drilling into the metal. A lot of cases you'll be drilling into brick, masonite, things like that, and you really want to have protection. As I said, you only get one set, and I like mine. I think they're pretty nice. You can see we've got plenty of clearance from the edge of the wood, at least 25mm, so we're not splitting the rafter. All right, so we're drilling our pilot holes for our safety bolts. This model requires 2 safety bolts to be recessed 30mm back from the edge of the beam. The newer models only require 3 Tech screws on each side. They no longer require the safety bolt. Making sure we got the clearance required. And we just slide the bolt through, washer on the wood side, and then finish it with the nut. All right, just hand tighten for now, and we'll secure those in a minute, one on each side. We want these nice and secure because this is our fail safe. The last thing you want is a bracket coming down on top of someone. So they're nice and secure. Our bracket is now basically installed. We just put our locking screw in to secure the whole thing together. Get our 8mm nut driver, and then we just proceed to screw the two together. Slow and steady. So now the mount is complete and ready for a dish. Okay, we've got the satellite dish, one that's pre-put together. Look like a Ninja Turtle carrying this up, but it's effectively the safest way because it still allows you to hold on with your hands, and this will just sit over your shoulder. So our bracket's pre-put together. You can see it's all been securely tightened off and everything's ready to go. There's a dual LNB or a two-way LNB for this one because we've got the IQ going in. So all set. We just simply get the bracket over the mount. This dish in Victoria at about 50 degrees. Each state does vary slightly, but this is the angle we want. 5 degrees to the right of north and at about 50 degrees angle. And then we can screw in our meter and find our satellite. Now you can get an app on your iPhone, which will show you in a minute, which also does the same thing. Alrighty, so we just simply screw our meter into one of our ports in the LNB. And then again, as I said, 5 degrees to the right of north. You'll develop a bit of a feel for where north is as you go along. A lot of guys do carry compasses and things. I'm sure once again on the iPhone you can have an app that does all that for you. We're going to hone into the 20 or the 20 transponder just at first, just to find it and locate it. We just adjust the dish slightly so we get a good reading. You can see we're aiming for about 76. If you have a look, if I point the dish off the satellite, you'll see we drop dramatically down to the 60s. So we definitely know we're on the right one because we get our two satellites popping up looking like Bart Simpson's head. And you can see here we've got a 76 plus, which is what we're wanting to achieve. Now we simply just tighten each nut respectively. If we do them evenly, you'll find that the dish doesn't move, and then we can do our final adjustments to check the signal quality. See, once we've locked it in, if you've adjusted each bolt the same amount of times, it'll actually centre itself as to where you had it originally. So you can see now on our spectrum, we're honed into the first and second satellites. We're getting a nice strong signal of 76.9. We can try and improve it just by adjusting the skew of the LMB, which is the angle the LMB is on. You can go from the 4th notch as a bit of a guide, but then adjust it with your dish so we know. Now we're in the spectrum here, but if we check with our BER button to show us the quality of signal, we can see here 13.5 is quite good. 12's about a minimum to run off, but you should always be up in the 13s. And that's really quite good considering it is an overcast day and we've got a bit of cloud around. Quite happy with the way the dish is lined up now, so we can turn everything off and start running our cabling. We're going to fish our cavity, or get the cabling from underneath the house to the top here. Now the cables have been dropped down under the house, so we just try to get our yellow tongue or white tongue down the cavity of the brick veneer in between the insulation and the brick wall itself. Now this can be quite a nightmare sometimes, but as you develop your skills, you'll find it's a bit of an art really. You can get quite good at it. I go straight down between the bricks and the insulation. Can be a bit fiddly due to the length of my yellow tongue. I've gone past the base plate and I'm now hitting the ground underneath the house. All right, so now we're ready to go underneath and tape our cabling on, pull it up, put in our drip loops, fit off, and we're ready to go. Now it's always a good idea, if you can't reach the LMB properly, move your ladder, because if you keep stretching, it's only a matter of time before you do yourself some damage. So we just measure out, again with a drip loop, the length that we're going to need, and we can just cut our cabling and fit off our F connectors. The F connectors at the dish have to be Foxtel approved. One's for external use. If you're using the current Foxtel approved ones, they're the PCT, recognised by the blue band. These ones do not require amalgamation tape when using at the LMB. So we simply fit off our 2 F connectors, prep our cable, making sure that we haven't got any sheath or anything still connected to the copper. Simply slide our connector over, ensuring that it is a clean connector. So we can see we've pushed our F connector right up to the white dielectric, which is the centre part, with our centre conductor passing through. We can crimp this and then snip the conductor back to the required length. You want about 2 millimetres past, no more. So now we get our compression tool, simply slide our connector into it, compress the 2 ends together. And once these connectors are compressed, that is now locked onto the cable. All that needs to be done now is the centre conductor trim back to the required length. In this case, no more than 2 millimetres exposed. Now that our 2 connectors are crimped, we simply screw them into the corresponding ports on the LMB. It does not matter, it's not polarity sensitive, so it doesn't matter if you put one in the front and one at the back, it won't affect your signal. One more cable tie just to neaten it up, making sure that we've left a drip loop. Now we simply trim off our cable ties, put our tiles back, and we're done. All right, so now we've finished installing our dish, we've fitted off, everything's ready to go. We simply close up the roof. And guys, remember this, check your tiles, check your tiles, check your tiles, because everyone I know who's in this game has been caught out, and chances are you will too, so you can't check too much. So we'll just close all these up. You can see we noticed some cracked tiles before, so we'll inform the customer, let them know that they are damaged, just so they're aware. Write it on your work order, get the customer to sign or initial it, because again, We will get caught out over time if we don't cover our you know what. So the very last point that we can, I'll untie my lanyard, and I've put it around my ladder because I am still working at height. My ladder is secured with the ladder safe. It's just a bit of extra precaution in case when I'm finished here I do have a slip or something, I'm still part of the structure. Now at this point I'm not much higher than 1.8, so I don't need to really worry about affixing myself, but if I was on a second story, I would then retie my rope to my ladder because my ladder is still secure, and then again I'm still connected while I close the final tiles.